What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I've got some more mental entitled parent stories, starting with this rather weird one. A normal woman comes back to her house and realizes right away that someone has been inside. The lights are on, the back door's open, it's just not how she left it. It's clear something is wrong here. And this is where the story gets a little bit weird. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say it involves a woman in a bathtub. I'll leave it at that. Here we go. Entitled mother decides to take advantage of nice daughter's absence to break into her daughter's house and enjoy a bubble bath. A month or so ago, I posted here the adventure of Linda trying to get me to open the access gates. Now guys, I covered that story. If you want to watch it, it's behind the I button right now. It's not imperative, but you might want to watch it right now to get some more background. Anyway, fortunately, Linda's daughter, Victoria, has been firm to her mother about her manners. Linda reached out to me with a profuse apology and flowers. While the flowers made my brother sneeze, Linda did seem repentant, and she was allowed over for the first time maybe a week or so ago. She behaved herself, so Victoria and I expressed our hopes that maybe she did learn her lesson. That was until last night. Victoria's brother-in-law, let's call him Kevin, was killed in a car accident a few days ago. Since Kevin lived in Texas, Victoria and the rest of her immediate family booked a flight to help arrange and attend the funeral. Since Victoria and I are next door neighbors and friends, she gave me an extra copy of her keys and asked me to keep an eye on their cat, sort their mail, and just make sure things were okay at the house. I agreed, because this was an emergency, and I trust her to take care of our house if something similar happened to us. Yesterday morning, Linda knocked on my door and politely asked me to let her into Victoria's house because she had forgotten her prescription. Since I wasn't sure if Linda was allowed, I texted Victoria to make sure it was okay for her mum to go in. Victoria said it was fine, so I let Linda in. While we were inside, I checked on the cat. I'll admit, this was a huge mistake on my part. I was only gone for a moment before Linda said she found what she was looking for, even showing me the medication bottle she misplaced. Satisfied, I locked up and Linda left. Several hours later, my brother, Mark, and I decided to go out for dinner because neither of us felt like cooking. When we returned though, we saw that some of the lights in Victoria's house were on. I knew I hadn't turned them on, and those lights weren't on a timer to deter burglars. I called the police. I explained what was going on, and I asked them to come over and check, because we're not stupid enough to go inside and confront a potential burglar. Fortunately, there were a couple of officers, let's call them Warren and Leo, close by, so they came over within a few minutes. While we were explaining what was going on, who would come out of the door but Linda? She was wearing a bathrobe and had her hair wrapped up in a towel, which added to everyone's confusion. Warren, the police officer, said, "Good evening, Mom. Sorry to disturb you, but do you live here?" Linda was confused and looked like a scared rabbit. "No hablo inglés." "I don't speak English," she said. Leo, the second officer, said, "Perdón, señora. ¿Habla usted español?" "Excuse me, Mom, do you speak Spanish?" Linda's eyes lit up at this, probably thinking she had a way out. Speaking rapid-fire Spanish, she got close to Leo and was patting his arm like she was his mother, occasionally pointing at Mark and me. Warren, Mark, and I watched this with uncomfortable confusion. I don't know how Leo was able to keep his cool during all of this, because this was really awkward for everyone. Leo came back to us with Linda still clinging to him. OP, she says she got some permission from her daughter to come in and take a bubble bath in their new jacuzzi bathtub, and that you let her in? Is that true? My jaw dropped. I did let her in earlier today because she said she forgot something at the house. We went in and left right after she found it. I have no idea what she's talking about, but I do have her daughter's number if you want to talk to her. At this point, the colour drained from Linda's face and she let go of Leo, trying to edge back to Victoria's house. Leo stopped her and asked, "¿Hay algo mal, señora? Is there something wrong, Mom?" Linda then dropped her entire act. "Alright, I wanted to try out my daughter's new jacuzzi while she was gone, as a reward for staying away when my daughter told me to. Victoria said she was glad things were getting better, and I thought I'd treat myself. I got OP to let me in earlier, and while she was checking on my daughter's cats, I unlocked the back window and took an Uber here this evening to enjoy my bath, because I knew those two would call my daughter, or you guys, with a convoluted story. I was just gonna take my bath, clean the tub, and leave. My daughter wouldn't have ever known." To end this story, Linda spent a nice night in jail because nobody was there to help her out and nobody really wanted to bail her out anyway. Victoria is now done with her mother's behaviour. I suspect she's going to ban Linda from the house for good this time. And I learned that some entitled people are just too dumb to realise that just because you're getting along with someone doesn't mean you get to make the rules. Yeah, to be completely honest, guys, I think if you haven't watched part 1 by now, you probably need to go and watch it to understand just how crazy Linda is. I'll chuck it behind the I button again if you haven't seen it. Yeah, this is one weird mother who kind of needs to be controlled, I guess parented in a backward sort of way by her daughter because she is so entitled and has so little common sense. And it's just a very, very strange lady. If you couldn't quite work it out from this story, then part 1 is definitely where you need to go to understand how crazy this woman is. In terms of this story on its own though, I mean, what Linda did wasn't the worst thing, going to just have a bath, but it's the lack of respect for privacy and the fact that it's not your house and your daughter has explicitly told you to not go in the house. You're not allowed in the house. That was revealed in part 1 at the end of it anyway, if you haven't seen it yet. Yeah, it's a weird relationship that Victoria has with her mum, but that's because her mum is so strange, so it makes complete sense to me, to be honest. Now for our next post. Finders Keepers doesn't work for horses, no matter how much you love them. I used to show my horses at a local fairground sometimes. Nothing fancy, just some local open shows, mostly western and barrels/poles. I have a big bay gelding, Dio, who gets a lot of compliments for how striking he looks. He's well known around the other regular show attendants. He's not registered or even purebred, kind of just a horse of unknown, mixed, vaguely quarter horse-ish heritage, so not particularly high dollar, just pretty. He's also the horse equivalent of a golden retriever. Absolutely loves everybody, especially if they give him a little attention. And the best part about this is, OP has given us some horse tags. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty standard perfect horse, isn't it? If you were to think of a perfect image of a horse in your head, you'd have that in mind. Lovely animal. While I was in the ring showing another of my horses, Dio was standing at our trailer in the lot. I had a friend at a trailer nearby who was kind of keeping an eye on him for me, but she was working inside her trailer when, supposedly, Dio got loose. I came back a bit later as my friend was stepping out of her trailer and Dio was nowhere to be found. We asked around and a couple of us spread out around the lot looking for him. No one had called out about a loose horse or seemed to have noticed him though, until my friend and I heard a bit of a ruckus a few rows down. Someone struggling to load their horse. See, Dio loves people and he loves food, but he really hates getting into small trailers. First off, he's a big guy and really just doesn't fit that well. And second off, he's always had some issues getting into trailers. We have a procedure and a big roomy trailer, so he loads okay for me. A few rows down from our trailer, a woman and her teenage girl are trying to load this suspiciously familiar big bay gelding into an itty bitty 2-horse trailer next to another horse, and neither horse was having it. Just when we showed up, Dio yanked back and sort of half reared up, pulling the rope away from the woman. Having some trouble loading that horse, I say? The entitled mum replied, "Oh, no, he just gets like this, really wound up after showing all day, barrel horses. Well, I think it's probably more of a problem if he doesn't load well, especially into strangers' tiny trailers, since he doesn't run barrels." What? What stranger? My friend replied, "That's her horse that you're trying to steal. I think she'd know better." What? No, he's ours. We found him. You found him at a trailer. No, he was just running around loose, so we caught him? And how does that make him yours? Well, no one was looking for him, so you obviously don't care about him. My daughter loves him and wanted a horse to run barrels on. Well, your daughter is going to be sorely disappointed, because I raised him and care quite a lot about him, and he also doesn't run barrels. He's terrified of them. This is when the entitled daughter got involved. "I don't care. Jack is the horse I've Wait, Jack? Okay, I'm apparently the horse in this story. Jack is the horse I've always wanted. Mum, we have to get him." I tell you what, I'd be a bloody good horse if I was a horse, that's for sure. "Well, fine. How much do you want for him? Is $200 enough?" Sorry, $200 for a horse named Jack? Are you joking? OP replies, "He's not for sale and not named Jack." Oh, okay then, I take it all back. I'm gonna take him back to my trailer now. Bye. Another of my friends had caught him by now and was handing his rope over to me. I am 100% ready at this point to just walk away from this headache. But the entitled daughter spoke up again. No, Mum, you can't let her take Jack away. He's not called Jack, man. What? Okay. The entitled mum then goes, no, you're not. Give that horse back to my daughter. Nope. There was some more arguing while I walked away. My friend got really fired up though and started yelling. Maybe a half hour later, the entitled lady comes storming up to my trailer with some poor deputy in tow. That's him. That's my daughter's horse. She's stealing my daughter's horse. I'll let you imagine the details of that encounter, but supposedly I had stolen this horse right from their trailer. I showed the cop a handful of pictures of us together on my phone, including one I had from when he was just a foal, and a few friends and acquaintances that were nearby knew me and attested to that. Yeah, Dio is in fact my horse. We also relayed the whole debacle to the officer, and my friend kept insisting we should press charges. Look, maybe I should have, but I just wanted to load up my horses and go home by then. We also mentioned the other horse, kind of worried it might have been found too, and he said he would check on it. The deputy then went off and talked to the woman and her daughter. It didn't look like a fun conversation for him. After a bit, he came back and assured us that the other horse seemed to be theirs. She also had pictures. He took down some of my info, and if we wanted to leave, we could. And so we did. Dio walked right into our trailer with minimal fuss. A friend of mine that stuck around longer told me later that she'd seen the girl outright sobbing and yelling at her mum. Honestly, guys, I would have thought that someone who already owned a horse would be the last person to want to try steal another horse. I know that sounds a bit backwards, but surely if you already own a horse, you understand how, close you can be with your horse and obviously with pets in general. And you wouldn't want to take away a horse from someone else who clearly loves their horse, obviously, as they own it. Yeah, it just would be a weird thing to do. But clearly, no, this entitled mum and this entitled daughter are working together as a nice little tag team of entitled people to come together and try and steal horses from other people because it would make them feel better. Weird, but I guess that was their motive. I just don't really understand how you would ever get away with that as well. Like, you're at a horse convention. Everyone's horses that are there are their horses. And every horse breeder or owner or trainer knows which horses are theirs. So if one horse goes missing, I think it's going to be quite clear who would have taken it, surely. Am I wrong in thinking that? I feel like horse owners and people at horse events would all come together and work out pretty quickly who was the person that was there and now isn't there anymore and their horse disappeared. Like, surely it should be obvious. I don't know, but hey, they wanted a horse and they nearly got one. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Entitled Parents. Really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know by dropping a like down below and commenting your thoughts on these two stories. If you do want more from me right away, then yeah, check out the playlist right here of all my videos and make sure you are subscribed. This is key. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I post daily on it. And yeah, if you turn this on with notifications, you'll get notified whenever I post. And I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Peace.